Linus Village Productions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Off Script. How's your day been, Lloyd? How's your week been? How's life?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I've been painting a lot of D&D minis actually.
Ooh, fun.
And I've just had some delivered to my house. I've got
Very
some
nice.
pyrovials from the Doctor Who story, The Fires of Pompeii.
There it is. There's the Doctor Who reference this episode.
Yes.
We are 3 minutes in, and you've already successfully managed to talk about Doctor Who. I'm proud of you. I am. I think that's a new record for you.
So I've got that to do, but I'm going to start doing some airbrushing because I got an airbrush.
Okay.
Now, so I'm gonna start using tech because they're creatures made from like magma and like rock, and so they're all quite. I can play with like the light of them.
So you've been nothing relevant to this podcast, nothing to do with acting. You've just been
no,
not like I don't also do that. But
I worked out. You asked what have I been doing this week.
I did ask.
You didn't say anything about acting.
No, you're all right. I should have specified. Have you been doing anything about acting this week?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'm glad that you asked that specific question.
Yeah. So am I.
So
I'm glad we took that first take.
Yeah, literally. I'm glad. I'm really glad. No, I've been looking at Spotlight actually.
Ah, okay.
So the theme of this episode is getting work,
Yes.
looking for work. How does someone do that? And I've been looking into Spotlight, and of course all the major sites that you would end up using if you were looking for work. And I've looked at my own Spotlight profile. I've been updating skills, making sure my photos are up to date. I'm still happy with the video reel that I've got on there as well. So I've been kind of doing a lot of maintenance really. What have you been up to?
A little bit similar, not really maintenance, but obviously in preparation for today's topic. Just doing a little bit more research into, and just doing a bit of a deeper dive into some of the other. Obviously, you mentioned Spotlight, but there's quite a lot of other, apps or websites that you can find work as an actor on. Now, holding my hands up, I don't necessarily use all of these. There's some that I've never seen before, but I've been just doing a little bit more research, just putting out the feelers, seeing what's out there, because I think I end up gravitating more to Mandy and to Backstage. They seem to be the ones that I end up using and getting a lot more sort of turnover, with roles and certain things like that. Though you've got a little bit different sort of situation on Spotlight because you go through an agent, don't you? So
Yeah.
And so is it your Spotlight or is it set up by your agent?
No, it's my Spotlight, so it's got all my details on it. It's got my contact information on it. But my agency is also listed on there.
Okay.
So whenever I go to the job search, it asks me to contact my agency when I'm looking for one of the job roles.
So they sort of help and deal with that sort of middleman aspect of dealing with contracts, contacting, setting up auditions and stuff like that. Okay, cool. And how do you find Spotlight? Do you find that you get a lot of roles off it? Because I know that one of the things that we were always taught at university is that agents and things of that manner often will get you about 20% of your work, but you should be looking for the 80% of the other side of it. So do you find that you get most of your work through Spotlight and your agent, or do you find that it's sort of 50-50, or like what's your dynamic?
Well, it's definitely about. Well, I mean, the websites like that I use, such as like I've got Backstage as well, so I go through that. I like to have like a variety of different ones. So like I've got Backstage. I dabbled with Mandy. I'm not sure. I don't use it as much anymore, but I definitely use Spotlight. But I find that your agency is supposed to work. That they work for you to get you the jobs, right? But you need to be working for yourself. So
Absolutely.
it's not just about paying for Spotlight and just waiting for something to come through. You've got to be actively looking for opportunities to perform. So that's why I'm always going to events where there are lots and lots of creatives that go, and they're all making independent films, doing this, doing that. I don't necessarily even think about not taking jobs that don't pay. So like I'll always be looking for stuff just to add to my content as well. So if there's someone that's making a short film, it's not paid, but they're making a short film, I would love to step into that world and do that. And I have done. I have done recently.
If you've got the time to do it as well, and it's not detriment to your income. I think you're absolutely right. One is experience, and two, it gets to add to your credits. And the larger network that you can have, honestly, the better. I think the amount of times that I've got, I think, yes, I've used Mandy a lot. Yes, I've used Backstage, and I have certainly got sort of roles from them. But I've got a lot more of my roles through contacts, through other people, yourself included, going, oh, I've got this thing. I think you'd either be really good for it, or have you seen this? It sort of fits into what you're looking for. And I think, these networking events that happen all across the UK, I believe. Which specific one are you referencing? Is there a specific one that you go to, or?
Well, I'm going to one in Morecambe, which is a relatively smaller one. But I find that the small ones are where there are a lot of sort of independent film. Like there's an independent film festival happening near me soon. Which I want to go to. And these kind of things that some of them aren't even necessarily that you have to pay for them. They pay what you can. And it's a really useful way to go out into your local community, or even to Manchester, the big cities, and meet people. And I think that's what's most important about filmmaking, theatre, any kind of performance-based society is all about like who you know and how you know them. And that's just how it works. I think it's very important to get out there and talk to people. What creates.
I think you're totally right, and we keep coming back to that point of and I think we've talked about in the past of a lot of you hear a lot of it's who you know in acting, is what get the jobs, and we've said that that's not necessarily true, but there is a big part of it. But a big part of that is knowing where you should be going to get to know these people. How many working actors are going to these networking things, because they're not just for actors. From what you've told me in the past, and I may be wrong, but from what you told me in the past, then they're not just actors. They are they're directors, they're production, small indie production companies, like indie artists who are looking for different things, who are putting their own productions on and doing their own thing. You can be like, oh, I'm really good for that. Hi, my name is Let me be a part of your thing, And it might not be paid, but hopefully one day that person, in a couple of years might get something or get onto something, and they might go, oh, I worked with so and so, and they were really good. And actually, I think I should reach out to them again and be like, hey, would you want to come along with that? And I think the more people that you gain in your immediate network, or even your distant network as well, there's and I'm sure you've experienced this, where there's been people that you've spoken to once, and they either had an impact on you or you had an impact on them, and then they've reached out to you and been like, hey, just wondering, is this any good to you? And I've certainly had that a few times. Now, whether it is relevant to you or not is at the point of that's the whole point of it, right? But it's knowing those people. No, and I think you're right. Of these networking events are really good. I think the websites that we've sort of pointed out, they are just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more.
See, Spotlight is where your casting directors go, and where the big fish look for talent, really, and Mandy and the Backstager. I think, to me, Spotlight's the one that I would choose to have. But then again, as I said, it's not just about scouring the jobs feed, because some of them might not be relevant. I really urge people to go into communities and but if you're new to it, just go and find like places that are putting on small things and just generate content for yourself.
Yeah, I think things like Spotlight. I mean, look, Spotlight is what I think it was. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, that it's 100 years of what it's been doing next year.
Next year, I think it starts in 2027.
Yeah, and that's impressive. It's got the legacy, it's got the experience, it's got longevity, backing it. Like you said, there's a lot of big fish on there that use Spotlight, almost wholly. Now, personally, in my experience, I've not had the best of luck on Spotlight. Like I say, Backstage and Mandy have been where I've had bigger luck, and Backstage as well. They work with Disney, they work with ABC, and sort of and things like that. So it's not just, you don't just have to go to Spotlight. You can use other things. I mean, there is not something that I've used, but throughout my time of searching these things, there's a website that's called Entertainment Worldwide or something, and that's where a lot of the cruise ships. That's where they advertise their auditions and things like that. We've talked about cruise ships. That's how we're finding them. Though, we've said in a previous episode that you found your cruise ship through Disney on Facebook. And that's,
literally, Facebook.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily uncommon either. We've talked about the rise of social media adverts and sort of TikTok. I mean, we've talked about
I've started noticing. On Backstage, I've seen there are adverts, a TikTok influencer, commission paid, and you do see them, and they start off with people going, guys, it's the last day to get this thing at a reduced offer. You'd be mad not to get it. I've been using it all this time, and it's literally changed my life. And that's what they say. And then suddenly, there's a little box that you click, and it's buy this item now. And it's so they're not as simple as you see it and then it's instantly it's an ad. A lot of people are contextualizing it and making it into a sort of sketch.
I mean we're seeing the game is changing when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, I think it definitely leads more into content creators and people who are using the platforms regularly, but we are, you addressed it there. Backstage, they're wanting adverts and show reels for TikTok ads. I'm seeing, there's a lot more of that coming online. And there's a lot more of that. And I mean, let's address, since we're talking about Backstage, let's address the difference between Backstage and Spotlight, right? So Spotlight, very professional, longevity, has an agent's page, which, Backstage does not have. That it allows you to connect with agents and sort of set up those connections. But I also think Backstage does a lot more to connect you with jobs, whereas Spotlight sort of has a bit more. And this might be just my experience. You may have had a different experience, but I think Spotlight sort of says, "Hey, this is where all this information is. You go and find it. You find what you want." Whereas I find that Backstage send me a lot more stuff. They're a lot more proactive in being like, hey, you said that you were interested in these types of roles. Here's 7 emails that we've sent out to you. And it can be really of like, oh yeah, cool. Some of it's not relevant, some of it is. But I do feel like Backstage is a bit more, hey, this is what we offer. This is what you've registered for. Whereas I found Spotlight is very much like, hey, here's all the listed offers. Go look at them, see what you're interested in.
See, I would say, I'd say that Backstage it's very user friendly.
Very user friendly.
I look at it and I see that there are the job opportunities there, and it has a description of what it is, and then on the right hand side, there's the list of roles that are going within that casting. And you can see them all there, and then there's a little button to click apply for this selected role, and it's very easy. It's a lot easier.
And I think Backstage. So first of all, let's sort of point out that the Backstage, Mandy, and I think Star Now, is it? They're all run by the same parent company, so they're part of the same group. Now they do say, I think they say on the website that, and I think you were telling me this, that they advise you to they do advise you to be on all of the platforms. Because they're different communities, which
basically they're basically they're different companies that are owned by the same parent company. So Backstage has been going for about 60 years, I believe, and they've acquired more companies under their umbrella. So like your Mandy, Star Now, and Backstage are all owned by this company. But they do say in order to, because they're all separate things, different casting directors and such will look at different ones. So they recommend getting more than one so that you can be seen by the most amount of people possible.
And I think Mandy's a bit more semi-professional, amateur advertisers. I think that's the vibe that I get from that community. That, once again, maybe only what I'm seeing, but it does seem to be a bit more amateur stuff. But there's nothing bad about that.
That being said, I do see student films and the like on Spotlight. Like I think they're all.
Okay.
I do see those.
You see a bit of everything.
Yeah, you see a little bit of everything, and there's union and non-union jobs as well that go on Backstage. I've noticed. I'd always try and stay to union jobs, but then again, there's nothing wrong with going for non-union jobs either. Yeah. So to be honest, it's about casting the net wide.
Yeah.
And I don't just, as I said before, I don't just rely on those websites.
Have you ever used Star? Is it Star Now? I think it's Star Now. Have you ever used Star Now? I've never used it. I think it was just something that came up when we were talking that they're under the same umbrella. But what I do like about the three, because I did do a little bit of about 2 minutes of looking through Star Now. But I think what's really good, and I do think is one of the benefits to Spotlight, is that you can look through the jobs page without having a subscription, where Spotlight does require you to have.
I think you just said what you like about Spotlight is that you can do that, and then you can do it.
Sorry, flip. What I like about Mandy, Star Now, and Backstage is that you don't need a subscription to look at the jobs feed. You obviously you do to then apply for the role and go through the whole process. But I like that you can still look at it without needing that subscription. Whereas Spotlight, you do require that subscription to have access to their job page. But I think there is benefit to having that subscription for Spotlight, because you're getting access to a much wider variety of roles. Because Spotlight, I mean, we've talked about longevity, but they operate in nearly every worldwide.
I think they have a very large scope. Yeah, but that being said, I also think the Backstage and Mandy do too.
Right. Okay.
I honestly, it's really hard because it really comes down to the individual and what kind of experience you're looking for.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about. It sounds awful, but it's about doing your own research and finding what kind of experience you want from this.
Because I mean, your experience is different to my experience on Spotlight and Mandy and all these things, and our experience is going to be different to the people that are listening to this. Because I think at the end of the day, it's whatever's curated to you, but it's how much effort you're putting into these systems. You know, like I also want to just slightly change, because I think not only do all these websites and then your events get you jobs, I think jobs get you jobs. So once you've gotten something, I go to a lot of Doctor Who conventions, as you know, and I've been talking to actors who I've met with getting autographs and stuff, and some of the actors that I was talking to say people will come up to them, or they'll get an email or a message from someone after having seen them in a production of something, and then they'll get asked to a specific casting in this place at this time. And it's almost about if the right person sees a performance that you did, maybe in theatre, or maybe in a short film or a film, and they think, wow, that person's good, they will seek you out and then ask you to go to a small casting for something that could be quite big. So it's about always trying to do well in your own performances, because you never know who's going to be in the audience watching you. What could spring from that. So that's why I always believe in going to the events, get some work, get some content of yourself, stick it on a page, whether it be your Mandy, your Backstage account, or your Spotlight, and stick it on there. And then you've got more and more content that you can push out and be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing here. And I'm really proud of this. And then someone can see it and go, you know what? I think that person could be suited to a role that I'm doing for Netflix. Ultimately, the more that you do, the more opportunities people are seeing you, the more the more you're out there, the more things will start happening for you, and it can feel slow. It can feel very repetitive at times. You've got to, I think, in this industry, you've got to be able to take, the good with the bad. You've got to have thick skin. I think once again that's another comment that gets thrown around with actors of that you've got to have thick skin.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong, because a lot of it is you've got to work for it. Like you've got to just keep trying, and eventually you'll get there. But there's no determined time of when that will happen, right? And, you can be really lucky and go to like open castings. Always be on the lookout for open castings. Open castings are great. A lot of the Game of Thrones actors were unknowns. I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the actor, but it's the youngest Stark girl. I remember there was an audition. Not an audition. There was an interview where she was saying, "Oh, I just needed a new computer, and so I went to the open."
Who? Oh God, I know
she got it. And she's done a few more things, and she sort of rose to that status, and I think sometimes you can be really lucky. You can go to these open castings. You can get some really good ones, but you've also got to go to your local casting theaters. Theater productions. Go see what's on. Go see what's upcoming.
Yeah, that's it.
Pop into your local theatre and go up to the desk and be like, "Hi, can you tell me what's upcoming, or what productions or companies are performing in the next year?" And they might not be able to tell you, but I've walked into some theatres and they've gone, "Oh, actually, here's some information," and all it takes is looking up them companies. Do they have roles available? Are they still trying to cast for those roles?
Yeah.
Or if they're not, send them an email. Hi, I'm an actor.
That's it. I also find that if you're wanting to do work, you can literally you could make your own.
Yeah, that's
like
point.
if you're moving in the right circles and you're seeing your friends maybe are performers or want to be directors. There are people out there that I've certainly gotten to know that want to do work, and then you can just kind of jump on with them, and then you're making work together at the ground level. And I think that's where it's purest, because I mean, let's not remember what I think. Trainspotting started off as a low budget film, and then took off, and it could be as simple as just get a great story, get a great camera or a video camera. And just start recording something and just see where it goes.
Yeah, another example of that is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So there were three friends who met on, I think they met on a low budget production that all want to be actors, and they spent their whole paycheck on now you don't have to do this because once again we've talked about the quality of smartphones now. This was 20 years ago, but they spent their whole paycheck on a really good camera. And just started filming episodes of things that they would, that they thought was funny.
Yeah.
They just started doing sketches and stuff like that. And they, they kept pitching it. They got a lot of rejections. And then they sent it. I think it was it Adult Swim? I can't remember who's got Sunny in Philadelphia. But someone went, "Oh, this looks funny. We will give you," I think it was $250,000 to do a pilot. And once again, there's another interview with those three actors that go, "We were absolutely stunned with $250,000." And when the executives went, "Well, just be aware that's a very low budget for a pilot," they turned around and went, "We've been doing this for free. We've been doing this with no money. $250,000 is so much more than we ever expected to get."
That's it. I think that I've been. Do you know Viva La Dirt League?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And they just started doing things. Yeah. And then over time they got more and more popular, and it started to get monetized. And now they're doing some really, really cool stuff. Yeah. They started playing D&D a few years back as well, actually, and doing some really cool D&D content. And it's only grown from there.
And I think
I bought some of their merch the other day.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I've got a Black Tech Town like polo shirt, which is awesome.
That's it. But like, I mean, YouTube, you know, like, yeah, we haven't talked about YouTube. YouTube's massive, and just sort of to add on to a point there, I think one of their cast is now working as a radio, on the radio, in, I think it's New Zealand that they come from, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think she's part of a radio cast now for like a, you know, because she got seen
I
in
did
that.
not know that.
Yeah. So that's something. As far as I'm aware, I may not be fully accurate, but I'm sure she is. But yeah, once again, like talking about that work leads to work. You know, people see you, people go, oh, that'd be good for you. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, YouTube. You know, the amount of content creators that we have now is a lot. You know, I
mean, look at Angry Ginge on I'm a Celeb.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
different set circumstances, but yeah, same vibe of like, you know, he's one I'm a Celebrity. You know, he's very big now at the moment. You know, he's appearing on adverts. He's, you know, stuff like that. And he started in his bedroom streaming content. You know, from I think he said he was from a laptop or something. You know, like you've got to start somewhere. You know, you've just got to put yourself out there. You've just got to do stuff. There is nothing wrong with you getting your smartphone. You know, going outside and just recording yourself, or inside recording yourself with some sketches. I mean, there's so many, you know, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. There's so many people doing sketches now. Oh, there's one. Yeah. There's I can't remember them for the life of me, but there's one sketch comedy TikToker that is now. Oh, well, quite a few of them are starting to move to stage stand-up now. Yeah, that's becoming quite a thing. They're starting to tour with that, and it's such a big in because you gain a platform, you gain followers, you gain people who, like Lloyd, will buy your merch. That's it. You know, everyone start recording yourself. Lloyd will buy your merch.
I cannot defend it. I like their content. I love the stuff that they do. I'm going to buy the merch. I mean, there's another guy that we were talking about just before we started recording, actually. Mm-hmm. The gent that we both love, and we both just realised that we both love. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I mean, we're terrible at this. We can't remember their name, but they're really cool.
Just the medieval videos where it's like there was one I was watching, medieval kings that weren't crazy. They just had ADHD or something, or something like that.
And literally, all he's doing is he's got a phone up to his face, and I think he's got minimal props. He might have a different shirt on, or he wears a crown sometimes, or a pirate hat, depending on.
He's got a cape for the medieval stuff, but the thing is,
and that's all he's doing, and it's funny.
But what he's doing is brilliant. Yeah, what he's doing is brilliant, and we love it, and we love watching it. Mm-hmm. I will always, if I see him come up on my view page, I will sit there for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and we were talking about this because it was funny because we did one of our episodes, and one of our historical moments was Vlad the Impaler. Yes. And then after that, I started getting recommendations of this gent, and one of the series that he's done is all about the same thing that I've talked about. And you know, you find your audience, right? Your audience will eventually come to you. You know, and I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Everyone's got like something that they enjoy talking about and doing, and it will. There is an audience for everything, and like we are definitely his audience.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know,
everything.
And I mean, that's it. You know, if you're really in Doctor Who, like Lloyd, he will subscribe to you. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter the quality of your content. You just put Doctor Who in your title. Like Lloyd will go click.
But I love it.
But I jest. But it's true though. You know, you've just got to find your people. You've got to find your people, you've got to find your audience, but you can't do that until you've put yourself out there, until you've given it a go, until you've shown what you can do, you know. Yeah. And as well, it will only get better. Your content will only get better as you do more, because you will learn, you will see what hits and what doesn't. Does the algorithm push a certain video? Does your you know, when you get a few followers, do they specifically like this really one thing? And you're like, cool, I'm going to do more of that. You know,
I mean,
you will learn.
The first time we did a recording for one of these episodes, you were terrible.
Thank you.
And
I don't think I've improved. Yeah, take me aside and be like, right, Ben, get a grip.
You need to get better.
But no, I mean, look, you know, I do truly believe the more you do something, whether it's this podcast that people hopefully listening to, or whether it's, you know, recording yourself on TikTok and putting out some sketch comedy, it will get better. You know, go back to anyone's, like I'm gonna say any now, I'm gonna make a fool of myself, but go and look at any TikTokers or any YouTube reel or whatever you want. Go to their first video. It is gonna be drastically different quality to their most recent one, because they have improved. They're constantly improving their setup. They're nailing down what their niche is and what they're good at as well. And popular opinion will tell you, you know, what you're good at, because you will get more hits on something rather than others. And I think ultimately, I think what we're saying, and I think the crux of everything that we've talked about, you know, we've talked about acting websites, we've talked about going to open casting, going to your local theatres, being on the lookout, networking events, you know, just putting yourself out there. You've got to go do it. It's not going to come to you. You know, even if you go and get an agent, which actually I do want to ask you about, because I don't have an agent. You have an agent. How does getting an agent work for you?
So, my agency, I was aware of because I was doing like a weekend acting school stuff, and I learned that there was an agency attached to it, and I ended up going to Manchester and then auditioning for the agency, at which point I got in, and that's where it all started for me. So it's been a while, and I still enjoy working with my agent, and but obviously there are other avenues that you can go through. If like there's also, you don't actually have to get an agent. You could go and get work without having had an agent. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But a lot of the time when people go for agencies, there are like companies that you can go to, casting companies. Look it up online, and just basically just send them an email and say
as well.
Workshops are great for it as well. Absolutely right. But I would always just sit down and write an email and say, look, I'm an actor. I am looking for representation. Here's a link to either my Spotlight profile, my Mandy profile, or if you don't have either of those, here is a put together folder full of my work that I've done, my voice reel, my gosh, I've forgotten the word. Video
Show
reel. Show reel. Gosh, what am I doing? I know. Wow.
I'm glad the turns have tabled.
I know.
But no, I mean, a great thing that you've sort of pointed out is having a solid show reel and voice reel, or a combined one, is really, really valuable. Having good headshots. Now, yes, you can go away and pay for headshots. I'm never not going to recommend that. They are good, you know. But there is also nothing wrong with, once again, your phone just sitting against a blank wall and taking honestly, some of it. You know?
I think you're right. I would always choose to go for a professional headshot.
I would as well. I'm not saying don't, but I think if you're starting out, you know, we've got to.
Oh yeah.
You know, I didn't have a professional. I don't think I still have a professional headshot, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I'm still using one that was taken by a friend, you know. But yeah, I mean, look, it's everyone's personal preference. It's what works for them. You know, if you're trying to do this on a budget and you're, you know, in your part-time or whatever, you don't need a professional headshot. It helps. It does help.
There's also something to be said for if you don't necessarily want to go and pay for professional headshots, you could learn and acquire the skills to be able to take photographs yourself professionally. Like it's a case of getting the right equipment and being able to do it properly and understanding what people, because you know the headshots are always constantly changing. It was the fashion years ago to have them in black and white, and now they ask for them in color, and they're constantly changing.
Well, this is something we were talking about earlier today, actually, about headshots, which is we were debating what's the best angle to be looking at the camera of. And I remember that when I was getting my headshots done by my friend, who was a photographer, one of the things that we were doing was, and the headshots that we were looking at were all slightly off center, looking slightly off. Whereas when we were talking about them earlier today, I think it's moved into looking directly at the camera, and
mine
smiling,
certainly are.
and smiling, which I don't think, the ones that, even would have been nearly a decade ago, 7 years. Like, it was look serious and slightly off to the, look a little bit mysterious, look slightly off camera. And now it's look directly at camera, give a big smile, and those, it is changing. You need to update your headshots. You cannot rely on just having one and doing it. And also, because that is going to change as you get older, naturally, but it's going to change your playing age,
I think it not only changes, obviously, your playing age. You need to have up-to-date headshots for your age. But when I go to get my headshots done, I'm always thinking of what characters can I play? What characters do I think I stand a chance of getting? So when I take headshots, I normally, when I get them done, I normally have 3 that I like, and I want them to represent different versions of myself. So the one I use normally, that's always on show, is the neutral one. That just shows me as a blank canvas. And then I like to do a nice and happy one, and I also like to do a darker one. Looks a bit moody because it shows different versions of me, and I want to showcase the roles I can play. And it's about playing to your strengths and knowing what you can do.
You want to be able to, both in your headshots and your show reels, ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to get whoever's casting that role to envision you in
to
it.
See you in a certain way. Yeah, and that's it.
But and ultimately I think once again, you've just got to work at it. You've got to make sure your stuff's up to date, whether it's on these websites or not. Like, there is nothing wrong with sending a production company or a local theatre company your headshot and show reel, and being like, hey, if anything comes up, can you let me know? Like, it's, you've just got to put the work in. You've got to put the time in, and it eventually will sow seeds, and it will flower, and you've just got to keep putting the work in. I couldn't remember what the
it's a very nice term, flower. It will flower.
Bear fruit. That's the one. It will finally bear fruit. That's the words. Look, and on that wonderful note.
Yes, I think that conversation has flowered.
Excellent. It has bared fruits, and we've picked it.
Right. What are we doing now? Should we do something else?
Oh, we are going to do, in line with sort of getting work and some auditions, we're going to do audition horror stories, which we've done before. Okay. Now, it's my turn this week.
It's your turn.
So I've done work. Are you proud of me?
Yes. It's now your turn to do some work.
Good. I'm proud of myself too. So I've got 4 here for you.
Okay.
Now, I went away and tried to find some famous ones, but I think you've scraped all the barrel.
Okay.
So
scraped that barrel dry.
You've scraped that barrel dry. Yeah. But no, so what I've done is I've leaned into sort of musical auditions, and because I think we've talked in the past of the singing and acting, but I think like actually doing it on stage in front of a panel, and how does that work in a theatre? So I've tried to gone and found them. So
right, okay.
My number one, my first audition horror story is I went to the theatre that I've never been to before. Everyone else who was auditioning had been taking lessons there and acting for years. It was a dance audition for a musical theatre production. In the midst of trying to figure out the dance which everyone else knew, and the other girls were doing flawlessly, I tripped, fell, sprained my ankle, and I was crying in the middle of the stage. and nobody else acknowledged my existence and carried on dancing around me.
No.
Safe to say I didn't get the part.
That's horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all really wanted that
They
job.
all really wanted that job. They were like, we don't care. Let the weak die.
like that gives off like real sort of like Stampede Mufasa vibes. Like, oh, you've fallen, you can't get up.
Like, I'm crying. Like, she's there crying in the center of the stage, and everyone's just sort of flawlessly dancing around.
That's not her fault. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. No.
Okay, so number 2 is
Right.
I auditioned for a horror production. The director grabbed me and 2 other people afterwards as a callback and asked us to tell her our scariest story while we were getting filmed to see if we were creepy enough. I was the last to go. The two girls ahead of me did horror stories that I knew, so I had nothing. I couldn't think of anything. I frantically searched for a story and ended up just reciting the whole plot of The Wicker Man.
Oh no!
Luckily, I don't think the director had ever seen it, and I got the part.
That's pretty cool. In fairness,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I've had that. I've had that, like, where, I mean, not so much as like more of an improv thing. It's more about like, basically, you've got a monologue, and then you hear someone else who's also doing the same monologue, or is doing, like, they give out like character references, and you get to choose which one you want to play, and then you hear someone else doing the script that you're doing, and they do it slightly differently, and then you end up thinking to yourself, oh wow, they took it that way. You
start doubting yourself, don't you? And you start thinking, oh god, right.
And then you've got to be like, okay, do I change the way I did it, or do I stay true to what I envisioned in my head?
And I think that's really, I mean, that's an interesting point with all auditions. I always try and recommend going for something that isn't popular, because you know, the amount of Romeo and Juliets that I'm sure a panel will get, and they will judge everyone against everyone who's done that same one, you know, and you want to try and stand out and be unique, and so trying to do something different, it's not always possible, you know, because
But I mean, I've auditioned for musical stuff as well, and I used to take songs from Finding Neverland.
Ah, right.
Beautiful songs. And I probably could still take them, and I'd be happy to do them, because everyone's heard like a Joanna from Sweeney Todd or something, or everyone's heard. I was gonna say Jesus Christ Superstar, but I don't think anyone's ballsy enough to do that in an audition room. But like, my point is that like, there are songs out there that people will do because they know them and they kill.
Yes.
I mean, no one's going to an audition and singing "Defying Gravity."
No, and I think there's a lot of Disney songs get pulled up in auditions, from my understanding, or at least from like.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so I mean, from the knowledge of the friends that we have in the musical theatre industry, Disney songs get picked up a lot. You're laughing like it's not the same person that we know.
Well, no, okay, yeah.
But yeah, Disney does get picked up a lot. Okay, number 3, right? Are you ready?
Okay.
So number 3, I was auditioning for a part of a female lead. I had misread the script, and I wasn't aware that the audition was for a deaf person. I rocked up to the audition, was handed the script, and saw in the stage directions that I had to be signing as well. No. However, I do not know sign language. So I decided, well, I'm here, I'm just going to go for it. I stepped onto the stage, and the scene partner that had already been cast as the other lead was there. It was this incredibly gorgeous guy. Like a man that you only hear of in myths. Right. I got flustered so much that when I started doing my audition, I just started making up sign language. And I went completely off script to the point where I was flailing my hands around and I accidentally grabbed his crotch.
Oh, no.
Everything was awful, and I walked off the stage in shame.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, first of all, I wouldn't recommend making up sign language. That is not something. If you see that, I'd just be honest. Like, I would just, to be honest, I think I'd just say, look, guys, I can't do sign language. Like,
so hang on. So, did this person read the brief?
So
beforehand?
they misread the brief.
Right. Okay.
So they didn't realize it was the. It's not for a deaf person, but the character is deaf and needs to be able to do sign language.
Right. It's one of those things. You have to read the brief, man.
You have to read the brief.
You have to know what you're auditioning for because it's like on your skills section of your acting CV.
Don't put anything you can't do. For
anything
sake.
on there, you need to put on that you can do it to a good degree.
Yeah.
Like if you can't do it, don't put it on there. Seriously.
And I've got an example of this actually. So I went to an audition, and I've got on mine now. I can do Diablo. I do Diablo quite well. Yeah, throw it up, all that stuff. I really enjoy it. It's something I do in my part time. But when I was creating my CV for my actor's CV, for whatever reason, rather than putting Diablo, because I didn't think people would understand Diablo, I've got circus skills.
Oh.
And I didn't think anything of it.
That's such a wide range.
And in hindsight, poor choice of words.
Right.
And I got asked in an audition. Oh, I see here that you do circus skills, and I was like, oh yeah, I do like Diablo. And they were like, oh, so can you juggle? And I was like,
no,
not to any like decent level. I can juggle, but like the basic 3. And they were like,
I would like to point out that juggling is like one of the main
circus skills. I know. And they were like, well, do you mind giving it a go? So like I just like sort of did a basic juggle, and they were like, okay, thank you very much. I was like,
you don't even doing that one with the
No, I was doing the 3, the basic.
3 in a circle.
Yeah. Because I can do that, but I didn't get it, and then I went away and changed my circus skills : Diablo.
Yeah. Oh no.
But yeah, no, it's fine.
Right, go on. What's
cool. My last one is for my audition, I had to memorize. This feels too on the nose for me, and you'll hear why now, because I think it's the one I've already talked. It's one I've spoken about, and it's very similar, and it gives me PTSD. So for my audition, I had to memorize 2 monologues: one Shakespeare and one contemporary.
There you go.
Yeah. So I chose to do a dramatic monologue, since my Shakespeare one was romantic. In the monologue, I had to get angry and throw a chair off stage. The problem was, there was a line of people waiting for the audition just off stage. Long story short, I threw the chair too hard, it got hit someone, and I didn't get the part.
Oh my god. The thing is, right, I have found that anger doesn't necessarily have to be big anger. Like, you could be seething and arguably be angrier than you would be if you were like raging.
I don't even know if I would. So I agree, but like I think in this scenario, it's throwing something, it's doing something violent. I don't think that's the right necessary call in an audition.
No.
Like,
I agree.
I've seen other people, it's very similar to this. I've been lined up waiting for my turn. You can see on the stage of what's going on, or you can see in the room through the window. And I've seen people, stand up and throw their chair backwards. And it does shock the audition panel, but they're shocked and they're not paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it kind of takes them out of it, because they go, oh, right, okay. And they're no longer seeing what you can do. They're just going, oh, the chair that we put there is now being thrown against the wall. What are they doing?
It's like you're substituting like the shock value of it for the performance, and the performance would speak for itself. You shouldn't have to throw a chair across the room to be able to convey the message that you're a bit angry. That's just what I'd have thought anyway.
Yeah. So I would, unless you've been told specifically otherwise, I would avoid damaging any props or things you've been given.
I would definitely recommend that. It's just a bit, it's very over the top, I feel. And
I once saw someone. So I was auditioning for something where they gave us a prop, because in the script it says that they're reading from a newspaper.
Yeah.
And so they gave them like a really thin newspaper to read, and it's in the stage directions it says they throw it away at the end, and the actor, instead of just throwing it away, decided to fold it up, rip it up, and throw it away. And the audition panel went, "That's the only one that we've got."
Oh God, that's just You've got to have a bit more forethought than that.
I mean, I don't see. I don't know though. Like, I understand from an actor's point of view. I understand why he did it, and like actually, probably in his characterization, rip it up, throw it away, dismissing it. It's showing that kind of thing. But I would definitely say an audition, unless it's something that you've brought. Don't just assume it. You can do whatever you want with the prop or with the stage or anything, because. Yeah, it can just put a bad taste in your mouth as an audition panel. Yeah. So actually, as this is not one that I've picked out, but I've just remembered. So I was not part of I was actually part of the backstage production side of it, and I was helping with camera work for this indie film that was being recorded. And the director of it was auditioning people. And one actor came up and grabbed the camera and shook it, and because we were filming them so we could watch them back later.
Right. Yeah.
And like it totally threw all of the focus out for the rest of the scene. And when they went back, you can just see it's just blurry.
I mean, yeah.
But once again,
no way.
Yeah, don't. I wouldn't recommend. Don't, if you haven't been told specifically otherwise. I wouldn't start messing with stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, that was a funny one. Funnily enough, they didn't get the role they were wanting, but they did get a part. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, they probably liked their vigor.
Yeah. That was it. They were like, cool, this is good, awesome.
Well, I'm glad that's flowered.
That's been it's flowered. God,
I'm glad it's flowered.
So that was Audition Horror Stories. Cool. Well, we'll finish off this episode with our cold read then, shall we? We've got.
Yeah, we will.
What script have we got today? So cold read we've never seen before. Go on, give us the intro.
We have got a script called "Sick of It" by Jonathan Dean.
Lovely.
So it takes place in the master bedroom, early evening. I'm going to read the stage direction, then we'll decide who we want to play.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we've got the sounds of Kyle getting ready for an evening out when his husband, Declan, shouts from below.
Oh, isn't that nice, Lloyd? We're finally married.
I mean, it took him long enough.
Okay, well, I'll be Kyle.
Are you struggling to...
Yeah. Do apologise. Cool, yeah, I'll give you the first line. Because I'm just that benevolent.
Wait, hang on. So you're giving me the... Oh, right, so I'm playing Declan.
You'll be Declan. Kyle. Yeah, I'll play Kyle.
Right, okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, you ready?
Ready when you are.
Are you going to do... Shall I do this? I'll do the stage directions.
You do the stage direction? Brilliant.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Kyle sighs to himself. What does he want now? He shouts back.
What?
Where's the bleach?
What?
Declan slows down. Parachutes each word? No, punctuates each word is the right word, Lloyd. As if Kyle's hard of hearing. Where's the Bleach!
Why do you need the bleach?
Benny's been sick on the carpet again.
God, give me strength. Then don't you think you should be using the carpet cleaner?
There's a pause. Where's that?
Holy... In the cupboard under the sink, where it's always been and we've always kept it.
I can't find it.
Right, just hold on.
Kyle sighs, exasperated, hastily finishes getting ready and heads downstairs. Kyle steps into the living room and is greeted by the sounds of Declan scrubbing something into the carpet. Benny, their dog, is panting in the background. I think he's ate something dodgy. Seems fine now, though.
Right, well, good. Declan? It stinks in here. And... Hang on. Are you using the bleach?
I couldn't find the carpet cleaner.
It's in the cupboard!
It wasn't there!
I told you to hold on, for goodness sake!
Kyle stomps out of the room as Declan continues to scrub away. Benny barks as he returns a moment later.
Ah! Here you are! The carpet cleaner! In the cupboard, under the sink, next to the bleach!
Well, it wasn't there when I looked. Kyle makes a noise of profound annoyance. He's barely containing himself.
Well, it didn't just magically appear, did it? And you shouldn't be using bleach on the carpet anyway. You've ruined it now.
The scrubbing sound stops. All right, because everything's my fault, isn't it? Next time, I'll just leave Benny's chunder splattered all over the floor, shall I?
Jesus wept. It stinks in here.
Kyle strides over to the window, thrusts it open. Benny barks again, carries on panting.
Right, well, the taxi'll be here soon. You better get dressed. And quickly.
I am dressed? A beat, as Kyle realises he isn't joking.
Oh, no. You're not wearing that for tonight.
What's wrong with this?
We're going out for a nice meal. For your mum's birthday. And you think a t-shirt and cargo pants is the right choice, do you?
What's the issue? I always wear this.
Yeah, when you're going to the pub or to the Mackey's drive-thru, not to a fancy Italian restaurant.
Another pause as Declan doesn't move.
Go!
Declan groans, then slumps off. Kyle waits for him to leave before speaking.
I swear, Benny, I married an utter child.
Woof! Benny barks. I just wanted to do the woof.
Excellent.
There's the blare of a car horn outside.
Declan! Let's go!
The sound of Declan thundering his way down the stairs. Yes, all right, jeez. The sound of Declan pulling on his shoes and coat. You reckon Benny's going to be okay? Locked in the back room, I mean?
We wouldn't have had to lock him in there if in the back room if someone hadn't put bleach down on the carpet.
I swear it wasn't there when I looked. The car horn blares again.
Right, whatever. Yes, he'll be fine. He's fine.
Benny barks from the back room.
See? Fine. Let's go.
Carl and Declan make their way down the short garden path at the front of their house towards the taxi, the sound of its engine running in the background. Oh, what have we got, Mum, by the way? Under his breath.
You mean, what did I get her?
What's that?
Nothing. We got her that book that she wanted.
What book?
Jesus Christ.
The sound of the car door opening and then closing again as Kyle and Declan clamber inside.
Your sister's going to be there tonight, right? I wanted to talk to her.
Which one?
The one who's a divorce lawyer.
Yeah.
Good.
The taxi drives off. So
I think like Kyle and Declan are getting a divorce somehow.
I thought that could have been lifted out of one of our conversations. Don't you think?
I very much enjoyed. No comment.
You did Kyle, but I think I'm definitely more of a Kyle and you're more of a Declan.
Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the organised one, and you don't know where the bleach is.
And I'm the child.
Yeah, you're the man child that wears the same shirts every day.
Don't know what you're talking about. These are different shirts. They're just same coloured.
Oh yeah, the difference is sometimes they're unbuttoned and sometimes they're buttoned.
You've got to change it up. You've got to vary it.
Yeah, that's it.
You've got to really show off that figure.
Clearly, why have I've got my hairbrush out? Like, I'm just realised I'm playing with a hairbrush.
You're definitely more of a Kyle.
Oh, yes, I'm not finished getting ready yet.
We're an hour into this. You're still doing your hair. Love it.
I'm still doing my hair.
That was our cold read of what was the name of it? Sorry, did you say it at the beginning? I'm sure you did because you're the organised one. Sick of it. Yeah, sick of it. I enjoyed that.
Sick of it. I'm sick of it. This is exactly why this could have been lifted from a conversation we just had. You don't even know the name of the thing. Good grief. Right.
Well, thank you, Jonathan Dean.
Thank you, Jonathan Dean, for exposing just how bad my relationship is.
Oh, excellent. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll call it there for today's episode. Sorry, I can't stop laughing.
You just need to contain yourself for a second. Sorry, I can no longer continue. Oh, gosh, this has taken it out of me.
Right, and scene.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, no,
sorry. For the past 2 minutes, we were just in character for the past 2 minutes.
That's it. We're just playing our characters.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed that script, and I enjoyed today's topic. I thought it was very, very nice, and you're right. I think let's be nice to everyone, as we keep saying in each of these episodes. Always be nice to everybody. Because you never know who's going to be your network. And we end it there. And close.
Oh my God.
You've thrown me off, Lloyd. Congratulations. Right. You have won.
Shall I just end things here?
Please, for the love of God, put me out of my misery.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for this very special episode. Hopefully Ben will be back up and running shortly enough. He is clearly just in need of some refreshment. We'll calm him down. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You have been listening to Off Script. Off Script is presented by Ben Sharp and Lloyd Mitchell. Edited by Ryan Krogan. Executive producers for Minor Spillage Productions, Ryan Krogan and Josh Dixon.